Well, welcome to Let's Talk. This is just a little mini series we're going to put out every month or so, tackling difficult questions we might face in everyday lives, in the workplace, and we're going to try and get some practical tips that will help us be more confident in evangelism in our everyday lives. I'm really praying this helps. That's for audio.
Oh.
Good clapping. Okay, how loud can you clap? It all sounds the same to me.
No, mine sounds louder.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
Because I heard if you catch the air bubble here. So, as I already said in the introduction to this is a new series, very short videos based on evangelism. Hopefully we'll get some nice, helpful, practical tips, clear up some any confusion we might have in our everyday evangelism. So, first of all, we're going to clear the air very quickly and easily in the first video. What is evangelism? So, Michael, how do you define evangelism?
That's a good question. I am going to shamelessly steal actually a definition of evangelism from friend Roger Carswell, because I've not come across a better one actually. It's very, very simple. It's not very profound, but it's very simple. Evangelism is communicating the gospel to people who aren't Christians, who are listening. So three aspects really. It's got to be the gospel, so it's not just doing acts of kindness, although that is a kind thing to do.
Yeah.
It's actually talking to people about the gospel, about Jesus, his life, death and resurrection, and their need to repent and believe, and the offer of forgiveness and the gift of the Spirit and all that's involved in that. It's got to be the gospel. It's got to be to people who don't know Jesus. So whilst it's really encouraging as Christians to gather and remind ourselves of the gospel, that's not evangelism. That's encouraging each other as Christians. So it's got to be people who don't know Jesus. And they've got to be listening. So by that I mean, some things kind of pass as evangelism, but actually are they? So if I'm just kind of shoving kind of tracts under people's doors that no one ever reads, or if I'm kind of speaking on the street in a way that isn't really engaging and everyone's just going by thinking you're a nutter, if they're not actually listening, if they're not engaging with what I say, it doesn't mean, of course, everyone listens, but it wants to be done in a way that people are engaging with it.
The way one evangelist described it, I thought it was brilliant. He wants to get across the gospel truth in a non-coercive way. So you're not just angry and enraging people in front of you. You're listening, speaking to them, answering their objections, speaking the gospel truth. Okay, so can you say some examples of what this could look like? Because obviously you don't think it's just a monologue, I presume, to people.
Yeah, I mean, I guess people often, when they think of evangelists or evangelism, they think of, like the Billy Graham, preaching, big stadium, that kind of thing. And obviously that is part of it. And I'm primarily a public evangelist who speaks sometimes in big settings and speaks to lots of people about Jesus. But equally, it's, two people sitting down, having a chat in their lunch break at work, talking about their life, their faith, and how that connects to everything else in life. It might be posting a book to a friend who wants to kind of investigate a question about life. It might be sharing a video from church that Jake Hinton did.
Might not want to show that.
It could be lots of things, couldn't it? As long as it's the gospel being communicated. I remember when I was about 17, someone kind of gave me this quote, which I hung on to for dear life. And it was, preach the gospel and if necessary, use words. And I think, what's his name? St. Francis of Assisi apparently is allegedly meant to have said that. I'm not sure if he did. And I kind of see that, what they're trying to get at. But for me, it was like, oh, great. I never need to do that embarrassing stuff of trying to bring up my faith or talk about Jesus. I'll just let the kind of wonderful beauty of my life convince people. And I guess the problem with that is twofold. One is, sometimes my life isn't wonderful and beautiful.
No, especially.
So, I'm not Jesus. So if it's just my godliness that's going to convince people, then maybe a problem. But secondly, let's say I am being really loving and kind and everything else, but I never talk about my faith. Well, in a way, that could be kind of detrimental because people look at that and it's like, well, you're just a nice person. Why do I need Jesus? Hopefully that will lead to conversations. So it's not bad to do, but it's a stepping stone maybe, but we don't want to stop there.
And then when we do share our faith, we get those opportunities, it really stretches you, doesn't it? And it makes you more confident and convinced in what you believe in. So I think if you're only ever doing relational, I think you're missing out on such a beautiful and scary thing, which will make you love Jesus more in the long run, I think.
And it's worth saying, for all of us, there is that kind of pain barrier.
Yeah,
as
for
Wittgenstein calls
sure.
it. In that it is so much easier. You know, whenever I'm having a conversation with anyone, I think it's so much easier just keeping it on the weather or sport or anything. And we feel that change of gears when we start talking about Christian stuff. And yet, I have to say, two things. When I do have a conversation about Jesus, it's so much better than talking about the weather. I come away and I think, that meant something, that may have been significant. But also, like you say, it increases my confidence. Because I think, well, actually, no, like, the gospel really is good news. Like, particularly when you see people engage with it maybe for the first time and they're starting to understand it, and it gets you excited about Jesus again. And I remember Michael Green, who was a real mentor to me, he said, he was once asked, you know, how do you deal with spiritual dryness? And he says, normally I feel I'm spiritually dry because I've not been talking to people about Jesus. And he says the best way, if you're feeling kind of spiritually dry and lethargic, just talk to someone about Jesus. And I think, you know, so often our answer is have a quiet time.
Yes,
but sometimes no, don't have a quiet time. Just chat to someone,
That's
get a
so
conversation
true.
going.
Oh, definitely. That's brilliant. Well, we'll leave that there for the first episode. Thank you for watching. Hope that helps. Thank you, Michael, for coming.
Thanks.
Shake your hand.